everybody? Welcome to Ultimate Insider. I am Mike Pawlawski for Bear Insider, and today we are talking to one of my favorite all-time Cal dudes, another quarterback. He was a teammate, but not at Cal. So kind of an interesting little tease in there. I got to play with him in the XFL. I got to call his games when he was at Cal, and he is just like, what personality-wise, in terms of being a player, the way he went after the game, and who he was off the field, like one of my all-time favorite dudes. Joining me today, Pat Barnes. And Pat, dude, awesome to have you on the show.
Thanks, Mike. It's great to see you again. It's been too long, and great to be with you.
Yeah, it has been way too long. We talked about it. I got to cover you when you were at Cal, but we got to play together in the XFL, and I have to apologize because you should have been a starter in that freaking league, period. And I think they went with experience. But like, I was always pissed that you weren't playing, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I want to play too. So
yeah, I mean, 1A, 1B, right at the end of the day. As always, as competitors, like you want to be the guy playing, but our relationship from a friendship got a chance to grow. I learned a lot about how you approached your decision-making process coming from the Arena League. Like, hey, man, you got to make an A or B. Like, you don't have time. That I was used to being on a bigger field, so I think there was a great lesson learned there. And how to tie a Royal Wolf 24 size knit, right? Like at the end of the day, who else is going to teach me that at the end of the day? But now I need glasses, so I can't do that on my own.
No doubt. We were just joking about that. I got my glasses in here, and Pat's got his glasses on out there. And it's so funny, time moves on, like we talked about. You were 5 years behind me, and you came, I think you were the recruiting class of 92, right?
93. Yeah, 93. I was with Reagan Upshaw, Tar Glenn, Bobby Shaw.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, we were loaded. That's for sure.
You just dropped some names, and I was looking down the list of the dudes that you played with when you were there. I want you to go through and talk through some of those guys, because those were three for sure. But we're also talking about one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game. Oh, yeah. Right? And Gonzalez, fantastic player. Jeremy Newberry, one of the best linemen to play in Cal history, right? And so talk about your teammates when you were there, because that was my offensive line was awesome. We had a great offensive line. Troy Lozzie, Steve Gordon, Eric Malum, Todd Stussy. Like, I can go down the list. But you had some dudes as well.
Yeah, I think like anything, you look back and where everybody went post Cal, it really makes it a special group of guys. And then don't forget Damian Douglas, Delta O'Neill. Those guys are, exceptional athletes that went on to have their own great respective careers. Tony Gonzalez, best tight end of all time. I make it a joke when people go, "Oh, Cal, where'd you play?" I'm like, "Who'd you play with?" I'm like, "Oh, I played with Tony Gonzalez." They're like, "Oh, that guy was really good." I'm like,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Tar Glenn, moving from the D line, because he came in as a D lineman, and then moved over his junior year, and then to go on and play, I think 11 or 12 years and be like the best perennial left tackle, protecting Peyton Manning in the heyday when they're at with the Colts. Reagan Upshaw had, he was just a specimen when he came in. He looked like a man among boys just because he was just so mature at a young age, and one of the hardest workers. But I think what was really memorable is there was egos, but everybody was an ego towards trying to win together. There wasn't an I guy. We were all we guys. And I think Cal kind of bred that with your class in 92, the success you had. And when Snyder left, there was still culture was there. And there was nobody that was over and above the team. And I think that is definitely passed down. And I think you've talked to other generations of players, and that was a similar theme that guys kind of reiterated, right? We had to be amongst ourselves. The school was one that was supportive, but it wasn't like the SEC schools that we see today in the NIL world that you're seeing. So I think we were a band of brothers outside of being on the field, but definitely amongst the classroom at Cal. And it was a great time with all those guys.
Yeah, for sure. And funny Reagan Upshaw story is I came back right after my year in Tampa, and I guess you guys were really young and Reagan was a freshman. Mm-hmm. I was in the cleans, right? And I was a 300-plus clean guy when I was there. I loved to lift when I was, at Cal.
Ooh.
And Reagan is up there, and he's like lifting, he's cleaning like 200 pounds or something, and he's like, "Oh yeah, quarterback! Oh yeah, quarterback!" With that list that he's got and all that. and I walk over there, I go, "Fitch, please," and I walk up and grab that bar, boom, snatch that thing and put it down. I go, "Come back and talk to me when you hit 300." So like a couple of years later, I come back. And he's in there, and he goes, hey, quarterback, you come pick this out. I was up like 338 or something, throws it back down. I'm like, all right, you win. All good. You got it.
I'm not as young as I was before.
That's right. And I got done lifting heavy when I was done at Cal. Like, college was the place for me. I did it, I had a knee cartilage and had, my shoulder done. Like, I had a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I probably don't need to move that much weight anymore.
Yeah, but as you get older, now, like, weightlifting is kind of an important component to all this, the thing that we call life. But, I was never a big fan of getting under big weight, especially on my back. But, I was enamored with some of the guys and the strength that they had amongst our team, for sure. Newberry being one of them at the end of the day. But, our Eric Hone, right, our weight coach at the time. And the career, but these are fun memories as this coming into my head as we're talking right now.
Oh, for sure, right? Let's free associate. Talk to me. So you came out of SoCal, right? You're a SoCal kid, and you end up coming up to Cal. What was the recruiting process like for you? Because Gilby's staff recruited you, right?
Yeah, correct. I was fortunate I had options. I had my top 5 were Miami, Colorado, Arizona State, UCLA, and Cal. And, my dad's like, if you go to Miami on a trip, I'm coming with you. And I'm like, okay. We're not knowing anything. My mom's got funny stories about when Dennis Erickson, and I forget his offensive coordinator that came into, he's like his right-hand man. I'm embarrassed. I can't remember saying, but they had the national championship rings and stuff. My mom's like, you're not impressive to me. Don't flash that stuff. That's
awesome. That was the heyday of Miami too. Like that was the 2 Live Crew days. That was the national championship Miami.
Yeah, my parents knew more than I did at the time, which was good. But at the end of the day, I was looking for a combination between education and the ability to play in the top 5 program, right, or top 5 conference. And I think all those schools kind of fit that component to some degree. Some more than others. But Mike Shepard, who was a quarterback coach at the time, Gilby's staff, was just somebody, at the end of the day, felt like I had a vested interest in seeing my success post high school, and felt like he had a great understanding of the quarterback position. Gilby is so likable, right? At the end of the day, we had everybody that was on his staff always went on to go have success on that front. So, for me, right, like the school and the program is one thing, but really who you're going to be spending a lot of time with was a good determining factor of how I made a decision, because Ron Powlus was like the number 1 quarterback in my class coming out, and he had already committed to Notre Dame. Notre Dame says, hey, look, we're going to take 2 guys. And I'm like, growing up as a Catholic kid, how do you say no to Notre Dame, right? I broke my dad's heart when I said, hey, look, I'm not going to Notre Dame. But, at the end of the day, like we were talking about, you want opportunities to play, and that's kind of what it's about, along with getting education. And Cal, for me, just fit all. It just, when you start looking at it on paper, it fit all those components of what I was looking for out of school. And it was, looking back, it sure was a blessing, right, to have those options, because I got a 17-year-old right now that's looking at college, and I got a 15-year-old that's got college come down the pipe. And so, for a 18-year-old, 17-year-old kid to say, hey, look, I can go a lot of different places, it sure is a relieving and blessing to have your choice that way.
No doubt. And it's a crazy experience. You think, when you probably watched it too, because it was just a little bit before you, but Johnny Be Good, that movie came out about the quarterback that was getting recruited around the country. Did you watch that?
Yeah, and then he broke his knee, or he's done. To pull the scholarship, you're out.
You're out. No, it was so great. And that came out while I was going through recruiting.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, it was obviously Hollywood. There was a lot of Hollywood there. But my recruiting trips, like some of them weren't that different. Like there was there was some
Well,
stuff
you're as
going
good
on
looking
in
as Tom
southern schools.
Cruise.
I went back to go visit southern schools, and there was some good recruiting going on back there. I got to say.
Yeah. I got what do you call it? Skip Holtz said I had at that time. This was in '92. He's like, kid, I think you got the best recruiting story I've ever heard of, which is not for this platform.
Well, we're gonna have to listen to that one. I got to hear that one offline.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it was
it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, young and dumb and having fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? I always love that about you as a teammate. Now, I knew you at Cal, right? You and Summer came over for dinner and we hung out. I fell in love with you when you were at Cal. You're just that kind of guy. You're so easy to like, and so I knew you there. But I also love the fact, like later on when we were together, you always had like that awesome combination of professional and playful. Like you took it very seriously. You dedicated yourself to it, but it was also always fun for you, and I love that.
I mean, now, wouldn't you like to go play for a living again? Right? Like, being present is something I've always tried to be. And the coaches and I think people that I looked up to and emulated, like, I remember Steve Mariucci, right? He looked like he was always having a blast every time he was at work doing it. And he always talked about how fortunate we were, what a great opportunity it was. These times will be different when you get older, so make sure to understand and be present with your band of brothers, and that always stuck with me. And I think at the end of the day, you have to find a way to have a connection beyond servicing your job for 3 or 4 minutes, right? Because beyond college, you're in the professional ranks. And humor is always a good way to find some connection with individuals. Not that everybody's going to be there, but being able to get people to let down their guard and understand who they are as a human being, I think helps in the professional world. And maybe that's my defense mechanism. But it was, I think, my way of trying to get the human element when you're in a job and making sure that it's fun, because it is a game, right? At the end of the day, even though we're getting a paycheck, after every game, I still never lost sight of that. To go out and compete every day was something that I love doing. I do it right now in my job, and it's just something that you can never replace the element of lining up against somebody else and just playing for the W right at the end of the day. And football was I think it's the ultimate team sport. You can't do it on your own. And our job, as you understand, you have to get everybody to do the right thing at the same time for 85, 65 plays, or however many offensive plays you get to make, right? And the burden falls on the quarterback, because all the coaches do everything, but then, hey, inside the lines, it's just you and your 10 guys and the other guys that are coming in. And so I loved it. I couldn't, it was like the best aphrodisiac, the best drug, the best feeling you could ever get. I just always felt like the games were so much easier than any practice was ever, that you were ever a part of, because it was just you and your 10 guys, man. And let's go have fun. And you can say whatever it is, and there's no coach in your ear, and you pick guys up, or sometimes you're dinged and you're in the huddle going, hey man, somebody's got to call a running play. I don't know where I am or what we're doing. And so, yeah, love it.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It was really funny. I was talking to Bill Musgrave, right? And Bill was a contemporary of mine, came back to Cal. He's the offense coordinator there. Former quarterback, former Pac-10 quarterback, played for the Cowboys. So,
stud.
Like, similar lived experiences. And I'm talking to him. He's like, well, who wants to play quarterback? There's nothing fun about playing quarterback. It's like all stress. It's all this. And I look at him, I go, brother, you were doing it wrong. Like, I love playing I don't know what you're talking about. I love playing the position.
Yeah, for sure. Like, give it to me, right? Like so I'll put it on my shoulders. Let's go have fun. Win or lose, at least I know it's on my shoulders, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then, I mean, all the things that you talked about too, I saw it in you. It was what made me take the team aspect of it. Like being able to connect with these dudes, shared purpose. They're nowhere else in life, maybe the military, maybe some first responders, but football sports, will you have dudes who are willing to do what they're willing to do for a shared purpose like that? and it's just hard to find in life. That to me, that is what made football locker rooms such a special place.
Yeah, I just in today's day and age, I think it's getting lost with the NIL, right? Like colleges have coaches, they have a team of like free agents every year, and if one thinks that they're better than the other and they're worth more than, hey, look, I'm going to go, and the underlying discussions on what my worth is and how to go to the place, like the opportunity for young men to be young men and develop, it seems like they're becoming professionals really, really early on. And it's not to take away any opportunity to give kids an opportunity to earn a living, right? That's how it is. But I think that there is the development side and the education side. And I think that there's going to be unintended consequences for kids that are pursuing this for the wrong reasons, that they're going to be, at the end of the day, the metrics relative to getting to the next level at each level, from high school to college and college to pros, right? There's going to be kids that, make money, lose money, don't get money, lawsuits from it. But there's going to be a generation of kids that are, I think, going to be lost and not have, let's say, the fortitude that I think you and I did to go through and press on and get your education and understand that there's a lot of value to that at the end of the day, both personally and externally, as you change careers, because nobody plays football forever, right? This all comes to a screeching halt, whether you want it to happen or somebody else tells you it's going to happen. And I think my parents for that, because they were always mindful of that. You got to get your education. It doesn't matter what happens afterwards. Your career could end tomorrow. And that piece of paper, nobody could ever take away from you. And then there's, in that unlocks a community that we're all talking about, that we're a part of, that you've been one of the best cheerleaders on that front for Cal sports and Cal education on that front. And, I think there's a lot of value to that.
No doubt. And I think, kind of to your point, that in this day and age, so many people, as you know, I'm writing a book, right? So my book is called Everyday Great. I call it the playbook for winning at everything, right? Being able to play football, to get through things, to understand that, regulating your nervous system. People are so interested these days in comfort, because everybody tells them they're supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be easy, right? Everything's a hack. Everything is there's an easy button for everything, supposedly. But still, the easiest path and the most efficient path from A to B is hard work. Is putting in your time, is doing the things that you're supposed to do, is being dedicated and not fearing everything the whole time and looking for the easy way out. And it's been human nature. The Stoics talked about it way back when, and we continue to talk about it. There's always rebirths and renewals. And I think we're in one of them now, because we've swung so far the opposite way. We've tried to make it easy. We're in a culture right now that's kind of falling apart. And I think that's, as human nature, that's where we're at. But football taught you that, and especially playing football at Cal taught you that, because in a lot of schools, you get the easy pass, right? Oh, he's a football player. He gets, whatever he needs. He can get through classes, he can get grades, whatever. And I've heard about it from guys from across the country. That shit did not happen at Cal.
The guys will do your paper. You got paid in the off season. I'm like, that never happened. I never let professors know that I played sports at Cal. I saw what happened early on my freshman year, and that was like, I'm good. I'm not gonna be on that labeled group.
This my shirt with the number on it stays home for class, and I try to stay small in the room. Yeah, for sure.
No, the people got, when you and I paid, it was like, hey, like alumni, they hand you envelopes. Hey, you got paid. It's like, I worked 2 summers for the Travers family, who was one of the most generous families that's been to the program, right? And I remember talking with Colonel Travers. Okay, great. Yeah, you come over. You're going to start on this date. We can be flexible so you can do training. I was still doing summer school. I'll put in like 5-6 hours. Yeah, that's fine. And so I drive out there. I made $7.50 an hour plus the toll road, which was $1 at the time. And I worked my ass off. Like, they live in Marin on a hillside. I had to weed the whole thing and paint the eaves. And I mean, you name it, we did it. They let that property go all year. And that was the job that they had they would give one of the college athlete or the Cal athletes. And I'd have lunch with him every day. And then we talk about life and how he got to where he was and being in the war. holy smokes. And everybody's like, dude, so how, really? That you actually had to do the work? I'm like, yeah, it wasn't like the guy turning on the sprinklers and getting paid. I was like, dude, I worked my ass off.
Yeah, like O.J. Simpson's job, letting the gardener know when it's time to cut the grass. That which is so funny because that is literally that job is infamous with all the guys over the course. I work for the Travers family. Oh, you are weed whacking that hill.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
But they were such a great family. I mean, again, it was
yeah,
it was just, I mean, to be associated with them, it was like, okay, hey, look, something's good kind of come out of it, and listen to some music, and hey, look, there's always strength through the struggle that's learned, right? And as always, discipline's easy when you're in Cal or in any sport, and I think that as you move on, trying to continue, the lessons that you learn and continue to apply that moving forward is, sports and being at Cal and the guys that are around were has been a great asset as I'm leaning back on that now, being in the career that I'm in and doing what I'm doing.
100%. I think that's why athletes that are conscientious do so well later on. You learn to bust your ass and you learn to get through it all. And that's, for me, the strength of Cal. Like, the dudes who come through Cal, there's a certain Cal guy. And now that you have the days of NIL and transfer portal kind of intermixing together, they're not always Cal dudes who are there, right? It's different cats that are coming through. The one and done was never a thing.
Yeah, right.
When we were there. I mean, not even close.
And they may be done if they couldn't hack it.
Yeah, that's it. You were one and done, but not by choice. You were one and done.
Yeah, it's like, thanks, but you're good.
I saw that enough. I definitely saw that enough. But the one and done coming in just to be a mercenary in football was never a thing.
Yeah. No, but the academics are a limiting factor to that too, right? Like, not everybody could get in. And you gotta, I think Wilcox has done a great job. I think Mooch did the same thing at the end of the day. Is they required and commanded and held you accountable to be at school and do what's required, right? Like, you were a student athlete, not an athlete that was just happened to be a student, and that was always ingrained in what we were, during my time. And I think that it gets back to my previous comment. It's like, it's such a valuable and lucky alumni to be part of, right? There's like over 100,000 Cal alumni down here in Southern California. And I love it when you see the new guys, you're like, hey, go Bears. They're like, what? They're like, come on, man, get with it.
Right. So when you were there, right, we used to get the Go Bears all the time. People would see us, they'd give you the Go Bears all the time. Did you give them the Go Bears back early, or did you have to grow into it?
I think it was, if I recollect correctly, I think it was like one of the alumni give me shit, right? Like, hey, go Bears. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, hey, kid, you're part of this group. You say go Bears back. That's what you do. I'm like, right. Yeah, go Bears. Okay, go Bears.
Right, yeah, go Bears.
You don't need to tell me twice. So that's how I recollect it, and that kind of ingrained in my head and so I've tried to pay that forward many times.
I didn't recognize that it was a call out at first. So be like, go really? Bears, like, thanks. Like, go.
Oh, no, Mike, they're not just talking about you.
No, not you, dickhead. We're talking about the team. It's more of a culture thing than just you, but I like the fact that you're a narcissist. Don't worry about that. So it was that kind of stuff. It was tough for me at first to kind of get on page with that, and then I finally figured it out. And now I'm like, oh, great, go Bears in everything, right? Go Bears across the board. So
it's way better than fight on. Like, that's so bad. Like, come on, fight on. I get so much of that down here. Like, whatever.
Don't even start me on SC. Oh, for God's sake.
I'm in a sea of them down here.
It's just, it's badness. But so the other shared thing that we had, right? Mariucci, he was your head coach for your last year. He was my quarterback coach. He actually recruited me. So great story about Mooch. I'm being recruited. I'm in high school, Troy High School in Fullerton, the Fighting Warriors. We were really not good. And then we had Mooch coming in, and he shows up on campus one day, and I have my high school girlfriend at the time, and she sees Mooch. Now, this is when he was 31, 32 maybe, right?
Oh,
recruited
dude, that was...
he's this young, really good-looking Italian dude. And I see
the flowing hair.
Over. She's like, who is that? I'm like, oh, that's the Cal guy. He's recruiting me. But he shows up, like, his charisma, like, before you ever talk to him even, it came off him. You knew it was Steve Mariucci before he ever showed up.
Yeah, his personality is magnetic. I mean, I think what was exciting is, Cal was his first kind of head coaching gig, and he did such an incredible job being a leader and letting coaches do what his staff do what they needed to do. So, and he did the best job. As I look back, is like, I'm going to be the best head coach I can be and motivate and keep it on point and make sure the ship's going down the right path. Give us a Give us a theme to play for. Hey, the fourth quarter's hard. We're going to be stronger than everybody else. And it really was a binding theme that really played out through the season. We had opportunities to win. We won, like the Arizona game. We went to 4 overtimes. It's like 88 quarters are.
So by the way, that's right. You are part of college football history. Like, rules were made about your game.
They changed the overtime rules because they're like, wait, we could get in trouble. This is going to go on forever. Yeah. Thank God for Tommy trying to go for 2, and we had the the block going on the right side because we had just switched it every time. I think the other 7 touchdowns or other 8 touchdowns they had scored, we were always rushing from, let's say, the kicker's left, and then they switched it from the right, and they had a fake going on that side. So, kudos to the special team coach at that time getting on the right call at that time.
That was great. I remember calling that. I was up in the booth, and I'm literally watching because we kept switching end zones, right? And so you could literally see the sea change of fans moving down the stands to get to that end zone. And then it would switch back. Everybody would move back across the student section to the other side. It was amazing. What was that like on the field?
Just as we described it, I mean, we were moving because it was grass. We had the natural turf at the time, and so the south end zone, that was just getting pretty torn up, so we moved to the north, and that's where the game ended. But yeah, that was, I mean, you've probably had games like this where it seemed like everybody was moving at a slower pace, like just it just felt like I couldn't miss. I didn't miss spots. I didn't miss throws. It was about as good of a game rhythm and feeling, and obviously our team played extremely well. But from a personal standpoint, from a quarterback standpoint, it just, call it you're in the zone, right? Or however you want to describe it. It was that day for me. I just felt like I couldn't miss. I wanted to keep playing. Right at the end of the day, it's like, I'll keep throwing for over 500 yards. This is fun when people weren't throwing for that amount of yardage right at the end of the day.
For like 560 something, didn't you?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, it was a lot.
It was a crazy number. At the time, I was like, holy smokes, I never did that. Like, that was a lot of yards.
Well, I mean, if you play 4 extra quarters, it's helpful, Mike.
For sure. We did never have that rule.
You didn't. There's no way. You probably had 10-12 in arena at a time. Come on.
Oh, now in the arena, in the arena, it's a shorter field, but I got some yards and some touchdowns.
Touchdown's a touchdown, baby.
That's right, brother. So that was awesome. What favorite Cal memory?
Winning at SC. It's probably one that we hadn't won in over 10 years. We were coming down to the Coliseum. Great expectations. That was to win there. They had a stacked team. We're gaining more confidence, as you understand, as the team kind of goes through a season. Your confidence builds not only individually but collectively together. Our strength was on offense. That's where we had the most experience. We had a young defense, and I think that was getting them, the younger defense, confidence to play well. Even if they gave up points, we were able to come back or score points to keep us in the game. And so when you have that, I think, understanding of roles and relationship and confidence, that it played out well at the Coliseum for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I was just mine's the same. LA schools, right? We hadn't beat UCLA in 19 years, and they were up at our place, and our team came down through the stands.
Oh, Bruce, I remember seeing that. That was impressive.
Bruce locked us up.
That was like the whole.
Section.
I know, but that's a feat with cleats, bud.
Oh, dude. So we were on turf. I was in tennis shoes.
But going down the stairs.
Oh yeah, dude, trust me. It's literally in my book talking about it. I'm like, my head was down. Those stairs are tiny. I was just worried about missing it. and he was in front of me, and I was going to topple him down, and then everybody was going to fall down on top of us, and it was going to be a melee. 40 killed because I can't quarterback.
The domino.
Gnarly. But so, that was a huge one. And that was, Bruce was trying to think differently. That's the whole point, right? And that's the point of that chapter. Think differently. Like, Cal they'd lost a lot of games. And there were some phenomenal football players when I showed up. Ken Harvey, Dave Zawatson, Troy Taylor. Like, I can go down a list of some incredible football players. But they couldn't put it together because they kind of got into this rut of being a team with a losing culture. And Bruce got us to think differently, which is exactly what you were talking about with Mooch, with you guys, kind of getting you guys to think differently.
No, 100%. I mean, it's easy to accept other people's answer. It's a lot harder to create a different identity, right? And if you believe in what somebody is saying, and then that starts you repetitively hear that, and then you start to see results because of that collectively moving on, that snowball starts rolling downhill. And I think, we were rolling. We were 5-0, about to go 6-0, and then I fumbled that freaking ball going in the end zone at Washington State.
Hey,
look, sometimes that's where it goes. Whatever. Hey, dude, exactly. You drop the ball, whatever. You drop the ball. That's just it. I mean, that thing felt like a piece of soap coming. I grabbed that thing.
Sure.
What?
Yes.
But again, that was us. Hey, look, we were down. I think we were down with 4 points, and we had like a minute 20. We're like on the 35, and like boom, we drove down with no problem. We were right on the 2-yard line or whatever it was. Then shit happens, as they say. But that, again. Leading up to that was we had just had so much momentum, and that belief and confidence that we were unstoppable was, all because of leadership, as you described, was Snyder. And I think Mooch was a great example of why he was in the right position, why it was the right hire, because it really fortified us.
For sure. I tried to get them to hire him instead of Gilby. Right after Snyder left, I tried really hard, and Bob Lockroth, being the amazing leader that he was, wouldn't hear me. And so it was just hire this dude. He's got so much going for him. And it was, Mooch got to sit there and got to be a part of what Bruce was doing.
But, so did Gilby. Gilby was like unstoppable at Washington as the OC. Right? It wasn't like again, that's for a separate conversation, but I'm just, again, it didn't that guy didn't have a track record.
No, great track record. But some guys are made to be coordinators, right? And he was a really good
dude,
great O-line
100%.
Yeah. I think the job, becoming the head guy, I think was more than he understood going into it. That was my take. And from talking to him, from the things that he said to me, that's just the way it was. And everybody who knew Gilby, who was around him, liked him. He was just very adversarial towards our team, because he was going to come in and change the tone, and there was a lot of stuff in the papers where he was literally trash talking our team. I'm like, really? Because we finished number 7. But why would you trash talk our team? But whatever, neither here nor there. I get to hang out with my brother today, and that was freaking awesome, dude. Seriously, I love you. I love having you on this show. I love a great teammate, great friend, and a great Golden Bear. So I appreciate you coming on here today, dude.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's always fun to talk with you, man. You're poignant with your comments and conversations and questions, man. It's always fun to banter with you.
And it always was, right? How fun were the quarterback meetings in the XFL? Just shooting stuff around. It was great.
And you helped my love for fly fishing come to light. So I'm always thankful for that for you.
Well, that is the next big thing. We need to get out on the river, and we need to go do some fly fishing. Yeah, 10 and 2, right?
Exactly. Keep your shoulder up.
Slow to fast, right? Pop it at the end. So for those of you at home that don't know, we'll talk about fly fishing some other time, because Patsy will definitely come back on with me. One of my favorite Golden Bears. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate all you at home listening and watching. One of the all-time greats here. One of the all-time great dudes. One of the all-time great Golden Bears. For people who are looking to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you? Talk about what you're doing right now. I don't want to go away before we do that.
So I've been doing commercial real estate brokerage down here in Southern Cal for the last 20 years, working with a private company, Avis & Young, doing industrial land investment sales. If anybody is interested or has want to connect, you can just search online for my name, and I'm sure it'll come up in the Google search page, and I would love to connect with you.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, one of the most awesome dudes you ever want to meet. Give love to Summer. Give love to the family. I look forward to seeing you this fall sometime, hopefully. I know you got kids and fall sports and everything else. But I look forward to seeing you around some Cal event, and if not, we need to get on a stream somewhere.
Agreed, Mike. I'll look forward to that for sure. I'll see you in the fall.
Awesome. And now I'll officially sign off for everybody at home. Bear Insider, Ultimate Insider, Mike Pawlawski, Pat Barnes, one of the all-time great quarterbacks. Thank you for joining us here today.